Okay, everybody. Hey, you sent in a lot of questions that we tried to answer over the last 5 weeks in this Ask Me Anything sermon series. Special thanks to Pastor Chris Poirier for leaving his church, River Valley, and coming and helping us answer the questions, and for our executive pastor, Troy Singleton. Thank you guys both for all of your hard work. Now what I want to do is just answer some questions that came in online that we didn't get a chance to answer live, and I'm just going to pose these to you guys, and we'll post these answers on social media. Okay, I think there's a question in here. How do I respond to a close friend that criticizes my religious beliefs? And I want to point out two things about this question before you guys answer. It's my faith that's the problem, and the person that we have problems with is very dear to me or very close to me. So how would you guys counsel this Christian who has a close friend and they have nothing but ugly things to say about your faith?
I've had the pleasure of going through this a little bit.
The terrible pleasure of going through it.
And it's one of those realities, and it's one thing I constantly have to remind myself of is, again, we've said it over and over again, grace should precede all that we do, and that is true. And listening is something that we should precede everything we do, but this is probably one of those that we need to truly listen and understand. Because more likely than not, now not in all cases, but more likely than not, that is coming from a place where they have been hurt by a church previously, or by a religion previously. You know, you can insert anything there, but
totally agree.
A lot of folks have experienced a great deal of hurt and emotional pain and suffering as a result of the Christian church at large, but I would argue even more so in the West, because we've done a terrible job of keeping it to what it's supposed to be about, the gospel. And we've talked in other questions and throughout the series that traditions and culture tends to replace the basic realities of Scripture. And at the hands of a lot of those pastors and church members, a lot of folks have had terrible life experiences, which means they are going to be very passionate about saying that your faith is frankly garbage or broken. And the hardest thing for us is to hear that and endure it. But for most of those people, the thing they're looking for is just to be heard, because no one ever listened.
I would think the same thing. They just want to be heard. They've been heard. They're going through it. I would say be able to speak truth in love. And what I mean by that is being able to give them your experience with Christ without being combative or saying it in a tone where they can get offended. Because you can still speak truth in love in a situation where they've been hurt by a church and they're bashing you for being a believer because they don't believe in the faith. You still find a way to address the issue without breaking up that friendship or being controversial.
If I could summarize, you just heard from Chris, don't give up on him. God may have placed you in this friendship with somebody who is combative against your faith because he wants to use you to influence them and maybe wear down some of their defenses and heal some of their hurts. But what you heard from Troy is don't back down. Don't give up, but don't back down, which means don't compromise your faith. Don't try to make it a little bit more palatable to them. Just be yourself and stand on what you believe. Do it with love. Don't give up on them, but don't back down. And I really believe God will use your witness. It may take decades, literally decades, but I believe God will use that witness to really influence their soul.